This is what I wish I would have known when I had my breast implant removal. So first I want to start with two things. One, this is just my personal experience. This is what I wish I would have known, and every journey is going to look very different. So this is just me sharing from my path and what I experienced when I decided to and had my breast implants removed. Second, I also want to acknowledge your courage and the strength and the insane amount of self-love that it takes for you to want to do something so big. Removing your breast implants, whether it's from BII or fear of experiencing these symptoms, or if it's just an act of self-love, no matter what the reason behind this explant, your courage is immense, and I just want to acknowledge you and praise you and admire you for being such a warrior for yourself, because really this is something so special and unique. So I know it's a tough journey, but it's very, very worth it, and just stick through and remember that one day you're gonna look back and be so grateful for this huge thing that you did for yourself. All right, so to get started, I want to share the two main ways that you could have your breast implants removed. I didn't even know about one of them, so here are the main ones. The first one is a capsulectomy, and this used to be used to remove tumors, but it's actually now very well marketed to the BII, breast implant illness community, and that's when basically the surgeon goes in and kind of like cuts around, and these are very simple explanations of what surgeries are, but cuts around the scar tissue that has encapsulated, hence capsulectomy, your breast implant. So from my recollection, and I want for this to be kind of natural conversation, I don't want to be like researching and memorizing and regurgitating information, but from my recollection and my understanding, it's to kind of take out anything that has surrounded the capsule. So that might be calcification, toxins, leaked silicone, micro fragments of the implant, and to remove that scar tissue that's formed around the implant. So that is a capsulectomy. So you could also do, I don't know what the exact term for this is, but where it's kind of like a drain and slip. I think that's one of the ways that people refer to it, but it's when the surgeon will go in and stick a tube inside of your implant, drain it, and then slip it out. And it's so easy and simple, and you could literally drive yourself home after the surgery because you only need local anesthesia. You could also choose to have kind of like a, not laughing gas, but something to kind of help you relax and not feel as nervous or kind of tense during that surgery. So that's what I did. I just went under local anesthesia, and because of that, I couldn't have driven myself home right after because I did do the little laughing gas thing, but it was very simple, and I felt amazing that same day, and recovery was so fast and quick and simple. So they both vary, and I guess the reasons why you would choose one or the other. Some people will get a capsulectomy and then also have a lift done at the same time, but from my experience, everybody is so different. Everyone's reasons for getting an explant is so different, and the doctors are going to recommend different things for you. So something else I wish I would have known when I was going into getting my implants removed was seeing many different, I guess the benefit of seeing many different doctors. So when I first decided to have an explant or was even interested in it, the only community I knew that was doing this was the breast implant illness community. So I immediately went to all those support groups, which is also an amazing thing to do if you're planning on getting an explant, is just going to explant support groups. But for me, most of those were kind of focused on people with BII. So all of them had there are like certain doctors that you'll learn if you're going to do this are very well marketed to this community, and so I went to them. They really focus on capsulectomies. Capsulectomies are very expensive, so just have that in mind when making your decision. Obviously, you need to do what's best for your health and what's going to be safest for you, but a lot of doctors tend to recommend them just because they are very expensive and they can make a lot of money doing them. Not to say that every doctor is out for the money, but that does tend to happen. So that was all I knew to do. I was like, no, these doctors are like the doctors for breast implant illness, for explants. This is their jam. And I kind of just let things simmer. I actually had booked an appointment and then ended up canceling it, and then just kept letting things simmer. And then I was like, you know what? Let me just look at some doctors that are really close to me, so I can just come home after and see what they have to say. And when I saw them, I just heard more and more that I didn't need to do a whole capsulectomy. I was 23 at the time, had only had my implants for like 5-ish years, and they were like, you do not need a capsulectomy. So I ended up just doing, like, I ended up changing my mind. I was so set on getting a capsulectomy just because that's what I always heard you should do in the BII community. And I just want to say there are no shoulds when it comes to the decisions that you make. You need to make what's best for you. You don't need to do what other people are peer pressuring you into doing, and you need to do what many doctors recommend for you. Like, take a general consensus and then sit down and say, like, okay, what makes the most sense based off the information I have at this point. So when I had other doctors really educating me and taking the time to help me understand my body, the way that my implants were set, and you know, a lot of different factors, I decided on doing local anesthesia, drain and slip, because that was what would be best for me. Questions to ask, I'm gonna read these off because I'm not good at memorizing things, but a few questions to ask. Actually, there are many questions that you could ask, and I'm actually going to link a PDF down in the bottom in the oh my gosh, under this video. And but these are some of the ones that really stand out to me. So what surgical technique is recommended for me, so that way you can figure out if you do want to do drain and slip, or if they really think you should get a capsulectomy. So asking them, you know, what they would recommend is very, very important, instead of going in and telling them what you want, because by asking them you might learn something that you didn't know about before. Another question to ask is, how long of a recovery period can I expect, and what kind of help will I need during and after my surgery? So this is really important for you to know kind of what you're getting into post-op, because I think a lot of times it's like this build up to the operation, but you forget what you'll need afterwards. And sometimes that support isn't just physical. Sometimes you don't, you know, like with me, drain and slip, very simple procedure. I could mostly take care of myself afterwards, but I really needed that emotional support afterwards, so I went and like stayed with my mom for a night. So maybe think about that too when looking into what you're gonna do after the surgery. Just like, how can you really help yourself get through this, you know, really transitional time, both emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So the next question is, what are the risks and complications associated with my procedure? So something I never heard about with a capsulectomy is that if you have an implant under the muscle, it's very, very close to your rib cage. So doing a capsulectomy there, especially if it's not like, you know, really, really necessary, is a huge risk you're taking, because you could puncture that tissue in between your capsule and your implant and your rib cage. So that is a risk that I didn't know about, that I think the third doctor I talked to about it told me about. So that's something important to know about, what risks are associated with the kind of procedure that you want to go with. The drain and slip is very low risk, like very, very low risk. So for me, that was a huge plus in making my decision to go that way instead of the other way. This last one is my favorite. Do you have before and after pictures that I can look at for this procedure, and what results are reasonable for me? So this was a huge question that I had, because there were some doctors that like really just worked with older women and did a lot of capsulectomies and lifts. And for me, I was like, okay, I'm young, my body is going to heal much faster, I'm doing a drain and slip, I don't need a lift. So when I look at these pictures, it's very hard for me to see what their work will look like on my body, because the bodies they're working with are different, and the kind of surgeries they're doing are different than what I want. So finding a doctor that had, you know, like a great gallery of pictures that they could share with me, with bodies that were comparable to mine and that did a similar surgery, I could kind of get a feel for what generally it would look like after and what the results would be. Obviously everyone's body heals different, but it's just good to kind of see that ballpark of what you're looking forward to. I would say at least see 4 different doctors. I saw 5 different doctors, and they all just varied greatly in price, what they recommended. But for me, there was a general consensus of doing the drain and slip. So like maybe you'll see 5 different doctors and they all think you should really do a capsulectomy. So just see, as I'd say, at least 4 doctors, and kind of just like get a poll, ask them all a lot of the same questions, and then obviously let yourself ask new questions that might come up. But that'll be a really great way for you to see, you know, who feels best to you, who did you feel really cared about you. Also, which office staff did you like, because after the surgery, you're really going to be dealing with their nurses, their receptionists a lot, more so than the doctor, him or herself. So make sure you really like that. For me, it was a big turnoff in one office. I didn't really like the way that the rest of the team felt. It just felt very inauthentic and kind of like this fake bubbly happiness, and I was like, I don't want to deal with them. So I chose somebody else. So just know that like you want to like the whole office, not just the surgeon. Obviously if you love the surgeon, the office is like, man, then maybe you still go with them, but okay, you get the point. Something else that's important is to remember that this is your body and this is your chance to really take care of it. So I really want to encourage you to prioritize some very healthy boundaries leading up to and after the surgery. Figure out what is going to feel best for it. And I know a lot of times you're not supposed to exercise right after, or I guess like you should never exercise right after getting your explant. So just make sure you're really taking care of it in that time by putting the right lotions or oils on the scars for them to heal. Make sure you're getting outside and like really walking around and keeping yourself moving, because that movement is also going to help move any emotional or spiritual stagnation that you might have after the surgery, which to me feels kind of inevitable. I mean, this is a huge life shift for a lot of women. So just make sure you're really taking care of yourself and eating healthy, eating foods that make you feel good and happy, moving, journaling, meditating, like do those things that bring you lots of joy, because this is a huge life transition. So it's a big thing. Okay. And then the last thing is just find ways to support yourself. Find your support group. Like, who are the friends that are like, fuck yeah, I'm so happy for you. Like, this is a huge step. I'm here for you, whatever you need. If you want to call me and cry, if you want to call me and have me cheer you up, if you want to call me and talk about how freaking excited you are, if you want to call me and tell me that you're scared, like, find those people. Find the people that are really going to be there for you throughout this process. Maybe that's your significant other, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your friends, like, but don't expect for everyone to be that for you, because not everyone is in that headspace. Sometimes people have other things going on in their lives, or sometimes they're just not, like, as much as you may want your mom, let's say as an example, to be like that support person for you, maybe she just doesn't cater to your needs in the right way. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with her or you. It just means that she's not the right person for this, and that's fine. She might be the right person for something else, but just make sure you're not trying to make someone be something for you that they're not. And find the person that's like very naturally there to support you in this process. And then again, find ways to support yourself, which kind of goes back to, you know, caring for yourself and your body. Just figure out what's going to work for you. For me personally, journaling was a huge part of this process. Like, anytime any idea came to me and was just like I don't know, just very much on my heart and on my mind, I was like, where's my journal right now? I gotta journal it out, because that really helped me move through a lot of the different thoughts and emotions that were coming. Guys, I was so in the zone, I didn't even realize that the camera cut me off there at the end. So here I am again, put on the same shirt for continuity. But yeah, that's basically it. Those are my tips, and sorry if I rambled on a bit. I really just wanted to share what I had learned from personal experience, and then also just give you the information for what you need to make your own decisions. So that's it. This is not, you know, medical advice. It's just what I learned, and I'm just sharing from my experience getting my breast implants removed. So I hope this was helpful, and if you know someone that's going through this process, please share this video with them. I really wish I could have seen something like this when I was going into it. So I really hope this is helpful, and if you do enjoy this, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, just comment below and I'll make sure to get back to you. All right, love you, bye.